Hello everybody, I'm Prince Philly, and it's time I get back to a video I promised I'd make. So I planned on making this video about 8 months ago, and at that time I released a video about the pros and cons of self-publishing, and why I think the pros are massively outweighed by the cons. There's a link to that video in the description below, so check it out. Cringe warning, it's one of my very first videos, so it's a little rough, but I think my point still stands. In that video I said I was planning on making a video about traditional publishing, but since then I decided to put that on the side. I haven't had that much experience in, one, being a traditionally published author, which I still am not, but two, I also haven't very much experience in researching how to be a traditionally published author, which is the thing that has changed, and why I feel like I can make that video now. Now that I'm going to be discussing the traditional publishing pros and cons, I'm going to start with the pros, of course. Number one, you get more money. Yeah, with self-publishing, in the grand scheme of things, you technically get more money, but it's also going to cost you more, and kind of throw that off. But with traditional publishing, you get the initial advance, which could be like $10,000 or so, and then you get a cut of your books sold, which that second part could be a little infrequently and throw off your schedule. Two things to remember with that. One, if you're spending all your money like that, it's kind of your fault. I'm sorry to say it like that, but it's you that's in charge of budgeting your money, so that's up to you. And then the second one I'm going to save for like the next point, but keep in mind, I'm a 20-something-year-old college student. I don't need that much money. So I think the first disclaimer really works out well for me. I don't need that much all at once, and the one amount they will give me will probably sustain me. Number two, you get some assistance. This point is probably the most important out of this whole argument. So if you've been watching my videos, you know I am a college student, and I have a job that helps me buy food for myself and my sister, and when I go home I have a dog to take care of, and I like video games, and I like TV, and even books, of course, the whole thing. I also like to write. But have you noticed, none of those things I've listed have anything to do with business. I am absolutely clueless. Well, I wouldn't say clueless, because I've done some research, you know. But even if you do research on the ins and outs of business, you have no experience, and it's not gonna work out very well carrying out your own brand. I mean, just look at me and my YouTube channel. I'm kind of just flailing over here. So if I was a traditionally published author, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be having that problem. They'd help me edit, they'd help me make a cover, they'd help me with advertising, they'd help me get exposure, they'd even help me probably like test out my books on like an audience. So they're going to be trying to get their money's worth and doing whatever they can, which isn't a bad thing. It's actually certainly a pro. Honestly, anything you need, with the exception of an idea of something to write, they'll provide it. And any self-published author can tell you, marketing is way harder than writing a book. There's writing the book at the core of everything, but then there's everything else, and everything else is certainly hard and makes you want to rip your hair out. That's why I'm an advertising minor. I might be able to change that. I don't know, we'll see. Number three, this is going to be a minor point, but it's about bookstores. With bookstores, publishers either have their own bookstore, or they can easily get your book into a bookstore. Now, this isn't 100% a pro or a con, because bookstores honestly love indie authors. I've even had my own book in a store, so like I said, it's just kind of an extra thing, but I mean, extra help is always good. Then there's number four, validation and recognition. So this point is either going to matter right off the bat, or you're going to learn that it's important. You might be writing because that's what you love, and someone reading your book is all that matters to you, which is fine. But keep in mind, at the very basic level, every author wants that. Every author thinks that. That's important to just about every author out there. But of course, every author wants their book to be read, and you're not going to hear very much of, wow, this is great, or, oh my goodness, I love this, right off the bat. You're going to end up doubting yourself, and maybe even hating your writing, which, that's not good. It's not that you're a bad writer, it's that nobody knows who you are. And if nobody knows who you are, or that you're a writer, your book isn't going to sell, and that's different with a traditional publisher. Someone will tell you how good of an author you are, and you will be recognized at a book fair. So you will get that validation, you will get that recognition, and the sadness and stress will be lifted off of you. So, those are the pros. Now, for the cons, I'm not going to go as far into them because I'm pretty sure they're pretty self-explanatory, or you can at least use your imagination. But I will go in order of importance, the last being the most important, in my opinion. Number one, autonomy, or the lack thereof. The only thing you will have freedom of is your ideas and how you use the money your books get you. Your marketing technique is up to them. The bookstores that your book is in is up to them. The cover art is up to them. What's possibly up to them. A lot of people warn you about that, but I really don't feel like it's going to matter as much. You won't have very much autonomy or free will, which actually sounds kind of dark, but it's also kind of, I don't want to say it's like 100% the truth, but come on. Number two, the rights of your property is shared. And this is exactly how it sounds. Your idea is not 100% yours. In fact, it could be 0% yours now. That could change over time, or just not even affect you at all during your duration at the place. But still, it's contract and business, and you know, it makes people, all this business talk makes people cringe, which I don't get why, but whatever. And number three, this is an industry that you are not in control of. It's an industry that's in control of you. Once again, there's a lack of autonomy here. This is a line of work that you have to bend to. Markets change and whatnot, and when that happens, it can either help or hinder the employees. And yes, I said employee. You are an employee of your publishing company. And then number four. Number four is kind of a pro, but it's also kind of a con. I think it's more of a con because of how hard it is to accomplish this thing. But number four, you need an agent. Agents are really hard to find, but they're really rewarding because they do all the heavy lifting for you. Let's get back to that sentence. They're doing all the heavy lifting for you, meaning they want their money's worth, meaning they're going to have their work cut out for them, and it's going to take some time to convince one, you know? Then after that, they're going to be the ones doing all the looking around and talking to publishers and all that stuff. So it gets easier after you found one, but you're also not their only client, so it's going to take some time as well. And once again, if it takes some time, you're going to end up doubting yourself. And I don't know, it's just a crazy thing. But you know, you don't 100% need an agent. It's just, it'll be a miracle for you to get published without one. Your agent is your best friend, and they'll work like crazy. So finally, I initially wanted to make this video about how I changed my mind about publishing and how I was gonna stick with being indie, but I think I'm gonna do both. It's an option people don't tend to talk about, but it certainly is an option. I'm on book number 1, and I'm working on selling it myself, and what do you think I'm going to do with book number 2 comes out? I'm probably going to try to get an agent for my second book. Get your first book out, your first book does well enough, then you've made a name for yourself. If you make a name for yourself, then the rest of your books are going to sell a little easier, and it'll probably be easier to come across a traditional publisher. Once the traditional publisher has found you and takes a hold of you, then everything's handled basically. But it's nobody says it's like a step process. A lot of people try to do either or because there's that giant divide. But if you know anything else about me, I'm a person who likes to sit on the fence a lot because I'm always weighing my options. Or maybe both things are good, and I think this is the same case here. Both things sound pretty good. I would probably traditionally publish once I get more recognition, but right now, like I said, I'm on my first book, and it's going to take a bit, which is just something you have to, you know. I hope I was able to answer somebody's questions. I certainly would advise traditional publishing if it was an easier option, but don't let how hard traditional publishing sounds deter you. So go ahead, write your book. There's a stigma around being an indie author, because if you think about it, we're all salespeople. And you know how people feel about salespeople. I don't know, I think it makes me feel special. Of course, I've met some people who are a little snappy, but I've also met some really nice people. So if you want to be an indie author, go ahead, do it. I'm sure you'll love it. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, in the description below, there's going to be a link to my other video about publishing options, and I don't know, I might one day handle both of these in one video just to get everything all together. But for right now, I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any ideas about your plans for it, go ahead and tell me in the comments. I would love to hear it. Thanks for watching, and bye.